We're going to move on to our last speaker, who will discuss Daretaker, Caretaker, Undertaker. Which are you? It's not the kind of specialist who's normally featured at events like this. Neither a rocket scientist nor a policymaker. Direct here from Hollywood, we have Bob Rogers. Bob is a twice Oscar-nominated filmmaker with over 300 other international awards for creative excellence. He's recently been elected to the board of directors of the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences. The company he founded, BRC Imagination Arts, creates permanent visitor experiences for companies like NASA, Disney, Ford, Coca-Cola, and I'm sure today that we are in for one of those experiences ourselves. So please join me in welcome Bob Rogers to the podium. Thank you. Thank you, Gavin. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to start by thanking all of you for whatever failure of good judgment caused me to be invited to speak here to you today. Normally, our work at BRC Imagination Arts is creating visitor experiences. We are placemakers, storytellers, filmmakers, creators of permanent destinations that engage public imagination. Normally, we don't participate in creating the real space program, but as part of our work, we do think about it a lot, and we think about it very differently. Just to put you at ease, right after this speech, I'm leaving. I'm going back to California. So if you like what I say today, great, take it, go forward, make it your own. But if you don't like it, no worries, because like Brett Maverick on that old TV show, in every episode, he would say, I don't want to get involved, I'm just passing through. As I said, I'm a storyteller. So in today's story, I'm casting you as the good guys. You're going to be the heroes, just like those guys in The Right Stuff.
I doubt you've heard about our project.
Sounds dangerous.
It is. Very dangerous.
Count me in.
That's you, the hero. If you didn't believe that good things could happen for NASA manned spaceflight, you wouldn't have come here today. By coming here today, I have volunteered you to be the rescuers, to do whatever it takes to put NASA's manned spaceflight program back in space. That's why in this story I cast you as the hero. But like the hero in every good story, you are up against an awesome villain, a mindless, natural power that appears invincible. In 25 years, this power has murdered 20 NASA dreams and 2 presidential initiatives. It isn't a monster of flesh and blood, but an evil force of nature. It is Daretaker, Caretaker, Undertaker. A natural force in the universe as powerful and inescapable as Newton's first law, as certain as weight gain at Christmas time. Daretaker, Caretaker, Undertaker. Here's how it works. A great enterprise or culture rises through the efforts of Daretakers. With the demise of the original Daretakers, control transfers to professional managers and administrators. Eventually, a tipping point is reached. New competition appears, there's a cultural shift, something happens. And after that, the leadership presides over accelerating decline, trying to die slowly rather than quickly, the Undertaker phase. Daretaker, Caretaker, Undertaker. You can see the monster's deadly work throughout history. The rise and fall of ancient Egypt, the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, the rise and fall of the British Empire, the rise and fall of Tickle Me Elmo. You can see it in sports. The underdog team comes on with a burst of energy and heart, playing beyond their ability, that is to say, Daretaker style. But then they end up losing the game because at some point they stop playing to win, Daretaker style, and they start playing instead to not lose, Undertaker style. If this enemy's pattern seems familiar, like you've seen it before someplace, well, you have. The trajectory is not at all unlike a space shuttle mission. The rise of the Daretaker phase is like ascent, fiery, bumpy, dangerous, exciting. Things are happening very fast. The ever so slightly declining middle, the Caretaker phase, is like time on orbit. Everything happens slowly on orbit, or you don't come home. All is gentle, deliberate, thoughtful, and always under control. Then a tipping point arrives, either by choice or by neglect, and serious re-entry begins. If you manage your energy carefully, you land safely. If not, you burn up. But one way or another, you're going down. For a moment, let's think about other organizations. Where would you place their progress today on this curve? How about Eastman Kodak? Daretaker George Eastman builds an empire by democratizing photography, putting a camera in the hand of almost everyone. Kodak owned image capture. Where is Kodak on this curve today? Pixar Animation, where are they today? Probably somewhere near the transition from Daretaker to Caretaker, trying desperately to remain Daretakers. Pan Am? Pan Am once dominated international airline travel. Today, they are a fashionable handbag. Southwest Airlines. The Daretaker phase has clearly established them. Probably now they might be in, I don't know, early Caretaker. Tesla Motors, absolutely Daretaker still. Now, you probably figured this was coming. Think about that for a moment, or for a few days, and seek the opinions of others, especially seek the opinion of others who are outside the Beltway. On the way home tonight, ask a taxi driver, a waiter, or a hotel clerk questions like, how many astronauts can you name? And when they do name some, count up and see how many of them are from the Daretaker 1960s and how many are from the last 30 years of Caretaker. Also ask them, are there people in space right now? See if they know. See if they know how many. See if they can name even one in the last 10 years. It's scary. Most people outside of this room will put NASA's manned spaceflight program at the shoulder, just starting into Undertaker mode, or maybe a lot further down. In fact, many Americans truly believe NASA was canceled with the shuttle. They think you are already dead. Time is not on your side. So, is NASA's manned spaceflight program in or headed right into Undertaker mode? The law of Daretaker, Caretaker, Undertaker certainly says so. Now, is that okay with you? Everybody here okay with that? Well, of course not. That's why you're here today, and that's why you've been cast as the heroes. Against all odds, or you are going to defeat the monster and reverse this. But can you reverse it? Can anyone? Is the Undertaker mode inevitable and fatal? Walt Disney was a Daretaker. From 1923 to 1966, he built the brand with Mickey Mouse, Snow White, Dumbo, Pinocchio, Cinderella, Mary Poppins, Disneyland. Then, in 1966, Walt dies. And the next day, on Wall Street, the price of Disney stock goes up. Why? The caretakers are finally rid of the crazy fool who was plowing all the profits back into the company. Now at last they're going to have some sensible management and they're going to get some dividends. That's smart caretaking. But Caretaker mode wasn't quite like their Daretaker mode. Disney's films in this middle period include memorable films like Oliver and Company, The Rescuers, The Black Cauldron, Pete's Dragon, The Fox and Hound, The Great Mouse Detective, all very forgettable. And of course, the film that, to me, the title of which summarizes this period in their history creatively and economically. The film was titled The Black Hole, that they chose to make when they turned down the opportunity to make Star Wars. By 1984, Disney was fighting an unfriendly takeover by a raider who planned to break up Disney and sell off the pieces, kind of like what happens to a pig when it goes to market. Clearly Undertaker mode. But then, a new Daretaker showed up, Michael Eisner, and soon after, the studio was releasing films like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King. Hits. Daretaker phase was back. How about Steve Jobs? The Daretaker builds a company. He's a genius, but quite a handful. He drives his managers nuts. Eventually, the board fires him. Apple enters Caretaker mode and quickly transitions to Undertaker mode. But Jobs returns. A new Daretaker phase begins. Richard Branson, Virgin Records. But before the record industry can enter Undertaker mode, Virgin Airlines. And before that can get old, Virgin Galactic. Same Daretaker, different dares. So the way to reverse the start of Undertaker mode is with a new Daretaker mode. So where does that leave all of us? Oh yeah, the old fork in the road. The choices are simple: down or up. Down into Undertaker mode or up into a new Daretaker mode. In the words of a famous astronaut, you're going somewhere really fast, you better just hope it's up. Oops. Now, in many hero stories, there's a wise mentor who guides the hero. Characters like Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Good Witch of the East, the old boxing coach in Rocky, the fairy godmother, Dumbledore. To help you, we've rounded up some of the great advisors from history. Here's one. That's probably too small to read, so I'll read it for you. It is said, an Eastern monarch once charged his wise men to invent him a sentence to be ever in view, which should be true and appropriate in all times and situations. They presented him with the words, "And this too shall pass away." How much it expresses, how chastening in the hour of pride, how consoling in the depths of affliction. Abraham Lincoln. Yes, this situation will pass. You will go up or you will go down, but you will not stay where you are. Here's another one. We must all hang together, or assuredly we will all hang separately. Ben Franklin. Another way of saying this exact same thing, but with more edge to it, is when Democrats form a firing squad, they get in a circle. Of course, you can use this on anybody, Democrats, Republican. This is an equal opportunity insult, but really, when it is used, the firing squad metaphor is almost never used as an insult. Instead, what it really is a rallying cry. It's used by people who are trying to get their own group moving together as a team. Does this apply to this present situation in any way? I wonder. If it does apply, the firing squad circle is certainly not driven by malice, but by sincere people doing the best they can, but without a shared objective and plan. Let me say that again. If it does apply, the firing squad circle is not driven by malice, but by sincere people who merely lack a shared objective and plan. But something sure as hell is causing the 25 years of program start, stop, churn. If the problem is simply that we don't have a shared objective and plan, well, now you sort of have one. And as the hero in the story, it will be your job to sell this plan to divided constituencies. Does that already start to sound dangerous? If you climb a mountain 1,000 feet tall and fall off, you are just as dead as if you'd fallen off a mountain that's 30,000 feet tall, so you might as well be climbing the higher mountain. Bob Ballard, deep ocean explorer. Or this one. We are not going to bet the company on an insane idea. We are instead going to bet the company on an insanely great idea. Michael Eisner. So, just what is this insanely great idea that's supposed to fix things? Well, we've seen today that the NRC report outlines for the first time in recent memory, and that's underline that, for the first time in recent memory, a shared objective for NASA manned spaceflight. And that objective is to maximize benefit to the nation paired with sustainability. The report defines those. We've learned that the report goes on to outline a way to achieve all of this by adoption of pathway principles and decision rules, which the report spells out. Now, I'm a visual guy, so here's how I picture it. A floating pyramid, benefit to the nation. That's the lofty, selfless goal, an aspiration. Never mind where we're going, this is about why we're going. And when you find the perfect benefit to nation, you will know it's perfect because it will also have sustainability, the robust qualities that any program needs in order to last through the decades necessary to implement any space program. Compelling today and compelling 10 years from today. This isn't two things. You're looking for one thing with both qualities. It points to the sky, and yet it is solidly grounded. Once this has been identified, The pathway principles and design rules keep you on the path. Your hero mission will be to develop a single goal combining these, benefit to the nation and sustainability. But are these shared principles really enough to reverse 25 years of start, stop, churn? Can they really stop 25 years of filling the graveyard of dreams? Can they really prevent 25 more years and prevent another 20 or so crushed dreams? Could this approach unify NASA and its stakeholders on a sustainable path beyond Earth orbit, a pathway to success? Well, hell, what do I know? I don't know. My specialty is public engagement, not leading the exploration of the universe. That's your job. But here's what I see. Number one, this does look like the best shot you've got. Number two, it came from a source external to NASA, a very authoritative group with no dog in the fight, the National Research Council. And number three, for sure, you're going somewhere fast. You better just hope it's up. At this point, some of you may be asking, why me? And with good reason. Because the task ahead is not a movie. The happy Hollywood ending is anything but guaranteed. This is real. If you choose the path of the hero, it will be hard. You will be badly outnumbered. You do have a great tool with the NRC report, but you will still need to make very, very difficult choices. You'll be trying to rescue friends and colleagues who are vested in a paradigm that has resulted in 25 years of start, stop, churn, some of whom, frankly, are not quite ready to be rescued. Everyone won't love it. Your hero path will be lonely. So you have to ask, you sure you really want to do this? Wouldn't it be so much easier to just leave this conference, go get some lunch, and forget you were here? Throw this NRC report in the pile with all the rest, jokingly call it casualty number 21. Just go back to business as usual. Fight over destinations, fight over funding, form a firing squad by getting into a circle. Or, hey, you could just do nothing. That might be the solution. Let nature take its course. Daretaker, caretaker, undertaker. No one would blame you. It's a natural process. Daretaker, caretaker, undertaker. Not your fault. Just walk away from this. And besides, there's always the fashion business. Or
I got you worried about our project.
we hear this is dangerous. You're right, it's dangerous. Count me in.
Me in.
Sorry, no audio for that. So, who can do this? You can do this. You can do this with a little bit of encouragement. I put that in quotes, encouragement from friends like these. I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat. Winston Churchill. Oh. Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. Ernest Shackleton. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead, anthropologist. Well, somebody has to do something, and it's just incredibly pathetic that it has to be us. Jerry Garcia, lead singer of the Grateful Dead. Now, if you liked what I had to say today, great. Take it, go forward, make it your own. If you didn't like it, no worries. Because like Brett Maverick in that old TV show, I don't want to get involved. I'm just passing through. But that's a lie, because I'm not just passing through. I may just be a public engagement guy, but I deeply believe in what all of you are trying to do. Now the question is, what are you going to do now? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that terrific call to action. I just want to bring us to a close with a thank you to Bob for that. As he said, time is not necessarily on our side, Today, the purpose has been on how do we pick up the work, the detailed work and technical excellent expertise from the NRC report and many others, and animate a conversation with a broader community about human space exploration. How do we help ensure we don't squander the opportunity, that we stall because of divisions, and we move forward? So this conference, the whole effort we've been undertaking has been about building a community to rally around a strategy to ensure that human space exploration is a permanent feature of our national fabric. So I want to thank Bob for the closing remarks. I want to thank all of our speakers for sharing their thoughts with us today. I want to thank our partners at SAIC for a tremendous partnership, Tom, Kim, Mark, everybody. And most of all, thank you, because by being here today, you've actually become part of this community, and we look forward to staying in touch on next steps. Thank you so much for joining us.